You ever find yourself just picking up your phone for absolutely no reason? Yeah, it's not just you, and it's definitely not about a lack of willpower. There's this powerful, invisible loop running inside our brains. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how that loop works, and more importantly, how to break it.
Okay, let's be real for a second. Just think about the last time you checked your phone.
Chances are there was no little red bubble, no sound, no buzz in your pocket, nothing at all prompting you. But you did it anyway. You unlocked it, maybe swiped a bit, almost on autopilot. So the big question is, why? Why do we all do that? It's not some kind of personal failure. The real answer is way more interesting. It's all about your brain chemistry. And that gets us to the absolute core of this whole thing, what I like to call the dopamine myth. Because it turns out pretty much everything we've been told about this powerful chemical, well, it isn't the whole story. Okay, so this right here is a huge misunderstanding. We've all heard that dopamine is the pleasure chemical, right? But that's not really its main job. The truth is, dopamine is the anticipation chemical. It's the neurochemical of wanting, not of having. It's the thing that drives you to seek, to explore, to chase whatever's around the next corner. And this just nails it. When you're scrolling through a feed, your brain isn't really after the pleasure of seeing a funny post. Nope. It's addicted to the possibility of seeing one. It's chasing the maybe. Maybe someone messaged you. Maybe there's a wild new video. That maybe, that's the hook. So how does this whole chasing maybe thing actually work in our brains? Well, it turns out our minds are basically running a program that looks a lot like a slot machine, using the exact same mechanism that gets people hooked in a casino. The sciencey term for this is a variable reward system. It's just a fancy way of saying the rewards are totally unpredictable. You pull the lever or, you refresh your feed, and you don't know if you'll get a jackpot or nothing at all. Sometimes you check your phone and nothing. Other times there's a great message from a friend. That randomness is incredibly powerful. So let's just walk through this cycle. First, you get a trigger, a little moment of boredom, maybe some anxiety. Second, you take the action, what we call the pull of the lever, which for us is refreshing a feed. Now, number 3, this is the crucial part, the spin. This is where dopamine goes crazy. Not when you get the reward, but in anticipation of what you might find. And finally, the outcome, the maybe. You might get something great, you might get nothing. But either way, your brain's already thinking, let's spin again, maybe next time. Now, this constant spinning isn't harmless fun. So let's talk about the real cost of chasing maybe and what this loop is actually doing to your brain day in and day out. See, these constant little hits of dopamine are actually rewriting your brain's baseline. It leads to a shorter attention span, making it harder and harder to focus on one thing. You start to have a really low tolerance for boredom. You know that feeling where just being still feels wrong? Deep, focused work becomes almost impossible. You might even feel more anxious in quiet moments. It just creates this state of constant, buzzing mental restlessness. And this is maybe the most important takeaway here. It's not really about the phone. You're not addicted to a piece of glass and metal. You're addicted to interruption. You're addicted to the constant stream of new things, of stimulation. The phone? Well, it's just the most efficient delivery system for it ever invented. All right, enough theory. How do we actually test this for ourselves and start to take back some control? I'm going to propose a really simple but powerful 24-hour experiment. This isn't about deleting apps or anything drastic. It's just about paying attention. Here's the challenge, and it is dead simple. For just 24 hours, turn off all your non-essential notifications. I'm talking Instagram, news alerts, emails, the whole shebang. Just keep the critical stuff on, like phone calls. And then, for the next day, just watch yourself. Just observe how you feel and how many times you still reach for your phone, even when it's completely silent. So what's going to happen? Well, in the first 2 to 4 hours, you'll probably feel that itch, that craving. You might even get phantom vibrations where you swear your phone just buzzed, but it didn't. That's your brain in a state of micro-withdrawal. But if you stick with it, after about 8 to 12 hours, you'll notice your mind just starts to settle down. And by the 24-hour mark, you'll almost certainly have this really powerful realization. Wow, most of that stuff wasn't important at all. Okay, so that little experiment, it shows you just how deep this habit really goes. So the real question is, how do we turn that one-day insight into a lasting change? Let's dive into our final section, breaking the loop for good, with some real strategies for a more focused mind. Here are 5 seriously powerful strategies you can start using today. 1, remove visual triggers. Seriously, out of sight, out of mind.
2. Try grayscale mode on your phone. It is amazing how boring Instagram is without color. 3. Schedule your checking. Treat it like an appointment, not a constant drip feed. 4, and this one is key, you have to replace the habit with something else. And 5, go get some real dopamine, the good stuff from exercise, getting some sunlight, or just having a great conversation.
And this is a perfect example of what habit replacement looks like in action. The old loop is totally automatic. You feel bored, you grab your phone. The new loop is intentional. You feel bored, and instead, you take 5 deep breaths. It's about giving your brain a different, healthier path to go down when that trigger hits. Look, when you boil it all down, it comes back to one simple, powerful truth. All this technology is designed to do one thing: capture your attention. But your attention, what you choose to focus on from moment to moment, that is your life. It is the most valuable thing you have. So I'll just leave you with this. The next time you find your hand reaching for your phone for no reason, just ask yourself, is this a failure of my discipline, or is it just my brain chemistry doing its thing? The good news is, now you know how to work with that chemistry instead of letting it work against you. The choice of where you put your attention, that's all yours.